The Grand Tetons are a mountain range in northwestern Wyoming. It's hard to believe how these mountains seem to just been thrust up out of the ground in the middle of a beautiful mountain valley. Our destination was a campground just to the east of the majestic peak of Grand Teton. We came here after visiting Salt Lake City, driving in from the southwest. This was a beautiful drive, mostly through Idaho, and turning east and going through the Gem Valley, Soda Springs, and on to our final destination of the Gros Campground in Grand Teton National Park. This was a nice campground with spacious sites and the typical amenities. The only drawback here was that a mountain, Blacktail Butte, was just north of the campground and it blocks most of the view of the Teton Range from most of the campsites. A great aspect of this campground was how close it is to More Monroe, which lends itself to some of the best sunrise and sunset photo opportunities that you'll ever have. This area was settled by the Mormons from Salt Lake City in the 1890s, creating a self-sustaining community with 27 homesteads. They irrigated the already very fertile soil to grow crops and build their community. Photographers from around the world stopped by T.A. Moulton's barn to capture this iconic, historic structure with the Teton Range in the background. The next morning took us to Jenny Lake and a hike up the mountain to Inspiration Point. The journey started at Jenny Lake Trailhead. This area has a campground and a nice visitor center. This is where we boarded the boat that took us to the West Shore boat dock. The ride across has some really nice views of the mountains, but most importantly, it cuts off an additional 2.5 miles of hiking. Now don't get me wrong, I enjoy a walk through the woods as much as anyone, but hey, you have to pace yourself. The view from the boat dock was truly amazing. All of a sudden you find yourself standing at the foot of rocky peaks that tower over 12,000 feet in the air. It really reminds you of just how small us little humans are walking around on this great big blue marble. The first part of our hike took us through Cascade Canyon, where beautiful mountain streams flow from the mountains into Jenny Lake. Soon we made it to the start of the Inspiration Point Trail. Now this is a tough trail that winds up a craggy alpine mountain to a beautiful view of the lake and the valley below. Coming back, we walked along Southern Jenny Lake Trail. This hike is about 2.5 miles and pretty much follows the rim of Jenny Lake. It's kind of neat when you're out here in the wilderness, and you really hope you see some wildlife. But you also need to be prepared with some bear spray, just in case the wildlife is hoping they see you too. These mountains are one of those miracles of nature that you've seen in pictures hundreds of times, but when you see this natural wonder in person and up close, it's literally jaw-droppingly beautiful. It's hard to believe this isn't some computer-generated landscape from a recent sci-fi movie. The next day we spent driving through Jackson Hole Valley, checking out some of the beautiful scenery, and hopefully getting to see some more of the wildlife. The next morning, we got up super early to check out the sunrise at Mormon Row. This was really cool getting there just as the day breaks and seeing a crowd of people had already gathered to witness this awesome view that was about to unfold. This was probably the first sunrise that I ever watched where you actually look away from the eastern sky to the west to see the orange glow of the rising sun light up the tops of the mountains first, then slowly make their way down the slopes until it reaches the valley below. After some much-needed relaxation, we headed into Jackson Hole for the evening. One of the first things we checked out was the elk antler arches in the town square. After a quick cruise around town, our next stop was the Jackson Hole Rodeo. When we arrived, there was a downpour, and we thought this just might ruin the entire evening. But lo and behold, just before the rodeo was to start, the sky cleared up a bit and the rodeo went on as scheduled. I guess a little rain wouldn't stop a bunch of cowboys anyway. The rodeo had all the exciting events you would expect: bull riding, bronco busting, calf roping, barrel racing, and so much more. What a fun night of thrilling action to watch. We really enjoyed the few days we had to spend in the Grand Tetons and Jackson Hole, but now it's time to head back down the road. Next stop, Yellowstone National Park. Thanks for watching, and if you'd like to see more videos like this, please subscribe to our YouTube channel.